Hello world! God, I hit the go live button then, and there's always a bit of a lag and a bit of a delay, but it just seemed to go on for ages then. I was thinking, oh, we've got a guest today. Don't let the tech break on us today. So here we are for another instalment of the Green Umbrella Live Lunch. We are live on the Green Umbrella Facebook page. We're live over on my LinkedIn profile. We're also live streaming on YouTube as well. Just because we can, because we use StreamYard, it allows us to do that as well. So stuff going on there. So if you're watching, if you can see us, and it looks like there's a couple of people joining already, which is fab, just say hello in the comments below. That would be amazing. And, invite people to join as well, because today we have the awesome Jody joining us from Chilli Promotional Products. I'm so excited. We're going to have a lot of fun today talking about like merch and stuff like that. And obviously, Jodie, we've known you for years and years and years and years, but we know you so well. It's easy to assume that everyone will know you in the same way. So give us a bit of an intro.
So I set up Chilli Promotional Products in 2008, having worked in marketing before. So my background, I was always buying branded products and just absolutely loved it. Used to go to big trade shows and just like run around like a kid in a sweet shop. And I can categorically say 14 years on, I still do exactly that. I got a free pen. I'm so excited. So I decided I knew I wanted to work for myself and set up doing this. Back in 2008. So it's a long time ago now. And it's just kind of trundled along. I love it.
Amazing. And over that time, you've worked with all sorts of companies, haven't you? Like quite big organisations, then SME, startups, that kind of stuff as well. So you really have got something for everyone, I think, anyway.
I think so. And it's amazing how, there are some really big companies that we've worked with through to, literally one person just setting up. And so often it's actually the same things that people want, whether they're a big global company right the way through. And there's so many cool things, and I love seeing the different things that people choose and go for. And sorry I'm waffling.
No, it's good. So the reason we wanted to bring you on is that we got into a conversation a couple of episodes ago. Basically, we started talking about event stuff starting to happen, and expos and conferences and that kind of stuff. Mark had some work related to that. We're going off to a couple of shows, and then we sort of started talking about merchandise as part of that conversation. And although it's marketing, we know about it, it's not our all day every day. It's not something that we I wouldn't say I'm an expert in that space. That'll be you. So we thought we'd bring you on and pick your brains on it.
Sounds good. Hope you can find some.
Oh, we've already got some good questions for you, don't you worry. So when it comes to the whole merchandise stuff, I think people get really excited about it, like, oh, we could get this and we can get that and all this kind of stuff, but they don't think about budgets. They don't think about the cost of things. I think quite often they don't realise how much stuff is, and in both directions. I think they'll think, like, let's get a bunch of water bottles and think these will all be £1 each, and not realise like the quantity they'd need to get to like get it down to that. Or they're like, oh well, I just want 50 of something, and they think it's going to cost loads and loads and loads of money. Well, actually, there's a lot of stuff that is definitely affordable. So when it comes to budgeting and things around merchandise, like how should people be thinking about that?
I think it's really important to think about what they actually need, because I think it's really easy to get sucked into all the price drops loads at 250. I'm going to get 250. But actually, if you're going to have 250 and 150 of them are going to sit in the cupboard for 6 years and then be thrown out because you've changed your branding, that's not good. So better to know what you need and to really think about what's going to work and what's going to work well, and maybe spend a little bit more per item but get fewer of them. So I'm not telling people to spend more money. I'm not trying to extract every penny out of people, but I really want people to get things that are going to work really well for them. And I think sometimes just spending a little bit more per item and getting something that's a little bit nicer, that the recipients are going to find more value in can work much better and be a much better use of budget. In terms of budget setting, obviously that's very much what the company can afford and can't. I was going to say the prices do drop with volume. It's really expensive to get, things that we can get, say 10 or 25 of. It's a really expensive way of doing it. So it doesn't always work, but then there's some companies where the actual cost for that item isn't really relevant because they're using it as part of a much bigger thing, and that's exactly what they want, and they don't mind that they're paying probably twice what they really should for it, because actually that's what they need and that's what they want, and they know how it's all going to fit into their marketing plan and work for them.
So you said something quite interesting. You said it's what's going to work. So we've had conversations and I'm like, there's stuff that I want to have, and Mark he gives me this little look, like it's his, I'm the sensible one, Christina, and you are not. Look.
Don't worry, Mark.
So
there is one thing that we do want, though. We've got to get one day. We've got to get those planes.
I really want these, like the foam planes with the plastic. So there's an annual event we go to, and normally there's like a gala dinner at the end of the event. It's changing a little bit this year, but normally there's a gala dinner. I want to get those aeroplanes for that dinner. And the first time I suggested, over the years, Mark has come around a little bit on this, but the first time I suggested it, he was just like, no. Like, basically, Christina, you're asking for trouble. I'm like, I know, that's why I want them.
They're great for mailing as well because they come flat and you just, put them together. So they're a really good thing if anybody's ever looking for an inexpensive mailing idea, because that's always a biggie in my. Sorry, I've just totally gone off on a tangent.
No, I love lumpy mail. It's something I talk about in like some of my the seminars and things that I deliver. So the lumpy mail, it's like such an old traditional marketing thing. You said it when you introduced yourself, getting excited because you got a free pen. Okay. It's like, in the 80s, 90s, when that Reader's Digest thing fell through the letterbox like once or twice a year, you'd be like, ooh, right? Ooh, there's something in it. It's a freaking pen, but you're still excited anyway. And then you open it up and you're like, oh, it's a pen. It's like, and yet it's, even now, like, there's some, especially when you register a business, you go into somebody's house, some people are getting that data, they're sending you stuff out in the post, and you get it, and you're like, you can be, I bet it's a pen, and you're still opening it, going, oh, look what I've got. Lumpy mail really works, doesn't it?
More now than ever, because because mailing costs have gone up so much, people are not going to do it. You can send an email, it's free. It's like, yeah, but the impact of sending something in the post when people aren't getting tons of posts, because they're not even getting all the brown envelopes now, are they? Because those are emailed. So actually post now is really, really, really a good way of doing it. I need to get some funky envelopes and all sorts. So it's like, it really stands out. They look really cool.
I was going to say, so give us some ideas then. What can you, so you've got the envelope itself, like colours and foils and things like that. But when it comes to what you're going to put in them, that isn't a pen or an aeroplane, like what other things could you be doing that are different?
So one of the things that people quite like doing and that works well, especially if they're sending maybe a brochure or a contract that people need to sit and read, is tea bag. Just like a little branded tea bag in a envelope. They look really cute. They're really inexpensive and flat. So certainly if it's a letter, that would almost certainly go through as just a standard letter, because I always think with mailings, you're thinking about whether it's a letter, a large letter or a small parcel, because you don't want to be paying £3, whatever it is, for a small parcel to go in the post if you're actually only wanting to send an item that costs 70p. It's like, it just feels wrong in my head. So thinking of how, and I've fallen into this before. I did hot chocolate on sticks at Christmas one year for everyone, and it cost so much more to post them because they ended up having to be a small parcel than the hot chocolate stick. And I was like, I'd far rather spend more on the gift and less on, I should have rethought about what I was doing. I just hadn't realised they were more than 2.5 centimetres. So what other things good to send in the post? Anything that's flat. So things like with sticky notes, these are really popular. I should have got more things like this one, but these have gone down brilliantly, and they're just little page markers. But again, if you're sending a catalogue, great to put it in there, people can see. inexpensive and little. Coasters are popular in the post. Coasters are still really popular. It kind of always surprises me. I'm obviously a very uncouth person, and I tend to stick my mug on my desk. But they're really popular item. Mouse mats, when mouse mats are used really well, are a brilliant mailing item. People might not use mouse mats as a mouse mat so much anymore, but you can fit so much information on it. So they're great for accountants and solicitors use it with all the important information. So maybe information about minimum wage and SMP and all of those sorts of things, and the tax tables and stuff. There's all sorts of things like that can be put onto them. Calendars, so then they stick on your desk for a year. It makes it a really great value for money.
Brilliant. Yeah, we've done a sort of December time. We end up doing a couple of calendar runs, don't we, Mark, on mouse mats?
Yeah, those sort of things, especially like Jody said, some of the sort of office-based sort of clients and things, they send them out, and we've done bits for sort of estate agents and things like that as well, where they're sending out to their sort of landlords and things with dates for the year and stuff like that. So yeah, those things definitely work. But yeah, I think it's interesting to think about, because obviously we're always thinking about what we can send out, and then that just gives it us a few more different ideas, like you say, that can be mailed easily and cheaply, and not have to think about sending huge boxes out of things. But yeah, it's all good. But yeah, we did a little thing a little while ago, didn't we, with some brochures and things in a box, and that sort of went down quite well. Just there wasn't really much. It was just I think it was only a pen really in there, apart from some other bits and a Kit Kat and stuff, wasn't it? But it was that sort of went down quite well as well. So that
it had a good response. I think that this is the thing. There's stuff that you can do that isn't branded, so like tea bags and club biscuits and things like that. But when you do brand it, it has so much more impact. Because there's I don't know, Jody, what the stats are in terms of like something to do with brand awareness. It's like when a branded item, like people remember the brand for like 2 years longer than through other marketing. Do you know the stat I'm talking about?
I haven't got them off the top of my head, but we've got quite a lot of research that I've got access to, and I can always pop it in like into the chat or whatever afterwards on exactly that, and how good people feel as a result of receiving, the feel good factor and things like that relating to receiving merch. It's surprising, and the memory, how long it lasts.
Yeah. So this is the other thing I was thinking. It was it's not just about the merch you do that gets sent out. It's the stuff that you use internally as well. So things like, with this event we've got coming up, there's a couple of bits we've got for us, and it's like branded clothing, is it? It creates unity when everyone's using the pen and they've got the branded notepad, and there you go. But it's like sometimes it's thinking about actually what merch, and I think we need to do this. Like actually, we should probably have some branded merch that is for us, that is more around the office, day-to-day usage, that kind of stuff for us, because actually that promotes culture as well. If you come to the office, our values are on the wall, and one of them is unity, and I think actually that stuff creates unity as well, and it can be subtle sometimes. It doesn't need to be not everything needs to be bright green and have green umbrella emblazoned across it. There's lots of sort of different ways of using it.
There really is. We had a client who, they're a great client actually. They look after their staff really well. So they've been amazing all through the COVID times at sending, like we've done various packs that have gone to all their employees at home. And one of them was a cocktail making one, which really stands out. But one of the things they did pre-COVID was some...
Can I just say that sounds like me, but that wasn't me.
Yet. Take hint.
I mean, I sent you alcohol, but not cocktail stuff. It was just like, here, gin, whiskey, beer.
To be fair, that's always going to go down well. They did these tins of cookies, and they have a really good wraparound print area. So kind of like a mug, really, but they were taller and thinner. And they had all their values printed on there. Because after the cookies are gone, so firstly you get the the impact of it. Then you've got the cookies, yum, and then afterwards you've got something that people can use as a pen pot, a little desk tidy with the values just right there.
Oh, I like that idea.
Yeah.
Should we have some of them done?
Yeah.
I know, I like that genuinely. I like that idea.
Wait.
Because we only we did the thing with the values and stuff. We did that at Christmas, so we've only had them up in the office since January, February time. So yeah, we should get some more stuff. I love that idea. Send us some ideas, Jody.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, when we bring guests on, the hope is it's like, we expose you to our audience and maybe you get some business out of it. The intention isn't you get more business out of us, but, that works too. Cool. Okay, so going back to this event thing, we I will call it the green room. Everyone joins just before we go live, and we started talking about, and we were saying, oh, shall we use and I won't say what it is right now. And there was something behind me, and it's like, oh, quick, get that out of the way, because these are things that we've had done, basically branded items that we've had done ready for this event we're going to. And we were like, oh, shall we use them? Shall we not use them? And then conversation started, and I basically went, shh, don't talk about it now. We'll talk about it when we're live. So when you're going to an exhibition, Jody, like we are, when we've got our things that came in this packet, and the other thing over there that's just out of shot, that we're kind of keeping under wraps because we want the wow factor at the event. But then you said, yeah, you can maybe keep some of it under wraps for a wow factor, but what you want to do is get people to your stand, isn't it? Whenever you're doing an event, the whole point is to meet as many people as you can of the right people. So sometimes people will send something out before the event, and that you maybe take that to their stand to exchange it or to also receive something else. So creating that FOMO, really, people have got to come and see you because they've got to get their thing that came in that little packet, because if they haven't got one of those, then they're going to be the odd one out, and they don't want to be that one when everyone's talking about it and everyone's wearing looking at it. They don't want to be that person that hasn't got that bit. So yeah, we quite a few years ago now, did some pants for a customer who was exhibiting, and they wanted people to come to their stand, and it was just all about pants, completely different, completely unique. She didn't want just normal stuff that other people would have on their stand, and she wanted people to be walking around the show and talking about what they got from this that's so completely random. She wanted people walking around the show talking about her pants.
boy pants and girl pants.
That's Rec Expo sorted for later on in the year then.
Maybe we should. But so Mark, you were going to ask Jody a question, and so again, there is sometimes a bit of chat that happens before. Mark was going to ask Jody a question, and Jane had seen something a while ago on Jody's LinkedIn about something she'd done, and I wonder if that's the answer to the question.
What is the oddest thing you've ever been asked to brand?
No.
Go on, Jane, what was the post you saw?
I think someone had asked you that question and you'd said something very personal or something for the ladies. So
exactly that.
I maybe put 2 and 2 together and made 5, or maybe I didn't. I don't know.
I think you're probably quite close. Yeah, something. It sounds like it might have come from hens, but you'd normally find it on summers.
Oh my God, we should have had you on for International Women's Day.
I was in a ladies' networking event and this email popped up. Jenny, can you help? Can you? And I was like, oh, you're not emails in this.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Sadly, we couldn't do it because they only needed 100, and it obviously isn't a standard catalogue line, and would have required quite a lot of testing because of the inks and where they were going.
Okay.
I was going to ask, did you have to send out samples?
No, I quite quickly made an executive decision that wasn't something I could do.
Are there many things like that you've had to say no to? Whether it's because it's been impossible or just because it's so weird you don't want to get involved?
No, I quite like weird. No, that's the only thing that we've sort of point blank just said no without going too far down the investigating how doable it was. Because most things are doable if the quantity's right and the timescales are right. Because bespoke things, you need to have a reasonable number of them, and you need probably 4 or 5 months if it's completely bespoke. Some things are much quicker because they're not actually bespoke. It's maybe some bespoke molding on something. So like USBs, we did USBs that were a fish finger. That was quite a random one. And toilets, all sorts of.
Do you know, people that know me, they know how awful my sense of humour is. And it's like we've gone from eggs to fish fingers. I'm like, Jane, you're going to have to take over. Otherwise, this is going to go like, there will be no saving this.
Oh, dear.
Come on, Jane, get us on the sensible track. I know you got some stuff to talk about as well, or to ask Jody about.
Yeah, I had a couple of questions. So you wrote a blog for us a couple of weeks ago, and you mentioned something about greenwashing, basically, and eco products and stuff like that. So, and you said, there's a lot of products out there that claim to be green but aren't really. So I just wondered if you could tell us a bit more about that and sort of what kind of thing to look out for, really, to see whether it is really green.
The really green. What is really green is an enormous, big question, really, and I'm not sure that I could claim to be an expert on whether this product is more green than something else. But the things to be aware of is, so a few years ago, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, there was this really big move to everybody wanting bamboo travel cups. They didn't want the normal plastic travel cups. They wanted bamboo travel cups. Bamboo travel cups, in my opinion, are a prime example of that, because they say bamboo, everyone goes, oh great, it's bamboo, it's really eco, it's great, but they're really not. They're made in China. The bamboo is obviously grown specifically for it, so it's not like a product that's been recycled to be used. It's grown specifically, so although it grows really quickly, it's still not great. But their percentage of bamboo in a bamboo travel cup is really low, and they're mixed with a resin which has now been banned in Europe because it's potentially carcinogenic. So they're a really not great product, but they were one that people were constantly asking for. And I was like, and also apart from the fact that it's bamboo that's grown specifically for it, then it can't be recycled or composted at the end of its life because of the resin. They're sort of competing with the plastic ones that are made in the UK. Oh yeah, so those are also made in China. So they've then got all the carbon footprint of coming from China across to here. Where the ones that are plastic are made in the UK in a zero to landfill factory, where any waste from the production of those goes into manufacturing mouse mats and other products here, and then they can be recycled fully at the end of their life. To me, that's a much more green option. But I don't think there's an easy way of working out exactly which one in various items is categorically a more green option. So I'm always talking to people about what's more important to them. For me, air miles is quite a big thing, especially on things that we can make here really reasonably. So things like water bottles, we buy most of the water bottles now come from UK factories that we're doing. They're as cost effective as the ones that are coming from Far East because they're not having to ship them in containers. And it's supporting our economy, and actually it kind of feels like it's win-win all round on that. So the greenwashing's a big thing where people are claiming that something's really, really eco-friendly, where perhaps when you really look into it, it isn't at all as eco-friendly as it might appear. So one of our suppliers, I'm really waffling again, one of our suppliers can now do these green certificates. So they asked, they did this big survey, found out what was really important to people. I think there's about 10 categories, 9 or 10 categories, and they weighted it so which were more important have a higher weighting, and the products get a score which is out of, it's something weird like 96. science. You know, where's now 100? But it gets a score out of this somewhere around 90. And basically, if it's over 25, it's deemed a sustainable product. So you can see some things have got these sorts of notebooks have a score of 10, and that might be because it's using FSC paper, or there's different bits that add to it. And it's really interesting. So then you can compare. So there was things on there like recycled bottles with bamboo lids. And I thought, well, that sounds like it's probably quite a good product if it's recycled and it's bamboo lid. But then because it's made in the Far East, it's less green than I thought it was. It's really interesting. And we can provide those to people on any products that they're interested in. And we can do little catalogues that just pull in the high. So I can create a catalogue that only has things with a green score of over 25 or over 50. Really interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know, it is, and I think this is, I'm not really into this stuff. It's not that I don't care, I do care, but I'm just not tuned into it, is what I mean, right? I think there's a difference between being green and being sustainable.
Yeah.
Or ensuring sustainability. So like the perfect world is to be looking at it that way in terms of the products, in terms of the air miles, the supply chain, all of that sort of stuff. But then also we're going to this event, we think there'll be 500 people there, so we just need 500 instead of 5,000 because it will be cheaper per item. And then, like you said, all that stuff sits in a cupboard and nothing ever actually happens with it. And stuff that is also having the consciousness to have something that is actually usable. Yeah,
I think that's become much bigger the last year. That's been a real big swing and focus towards exactly that. There's, what's the point of it? Is it useful? Is it going to add something to my daily life? And if not, if I can't use it and I don't need it, and is it any good? Then that's just it's kind of a complete waste of money for the person buying it. But if it's just going to go into landfill, then that's terrible.
Mm.
Yeah, if it was just for impact somewhere. But I think that a lot of things are really there's so much merch that is really, really useful. It's just helping people to find things that.
Where have you seen the biggest changes? And I guess the reason I'm asking that, right, is that a lot of people are anti-plastic. I've got a plastic, it's a CV Library branded water bottle, right? I love these water bottles because it's like I can see how much I've drunk rather than it be, if it was like solid blue and the rest of it. But it's a few things I've been to now where you get your goodie bag and there's metal or aluminium water bottles rather than plastic water bottles and that kind of stuff. So I think there's been a lot of change as people have moved away from plastic as well. So where have you seen the biggest shifts from a product perspective?
I think the plastic, a few years ago, plastic suddenly became I don't know, everyone was like, exactly that. I don't want plastic. Plastic's terrible.
Evil spawn.
Plastic isn't as bad as we perhaps think it is. There's different kinds of plastic, which I wasn't totally aware of, but some of them are much easier to recycle than others. And there's been a big move from the manufacturer side, if they are using plastic, to try and use the right plastics, the best plastics, but also ones that can just be recycled. That's a really big thing. If it's plastic, but it's made in the UK in the zero to landfill factory, and when you finished with it, like I've got ruler here, when I finished with it, it's broken, but it's only a bit broken, so obviously I'll keep using it for ages. When it isn't anymore, if I can just put it in my household recycling and know that it's going to be recycled, that's so much better than if it won't recycle or it can't recycle, or you have to take it into 300 different pieces and separate out the bits. Yeah, that's another whole story. Bamboo pens on that one, because pens are a nightmare for recycling. Pens are a nightmare at end of life. Pencils, go pencils, everybody. Pencils are
I thought someone said, I wonder if I still got it here. Yeah, branded pencil.
Oh, it's a Sprout pencil. We love Sprout pencils.
With a little. So go on then, because not everyone would have seen those.
So those are made in Denmark. They are sustainable wood with a non-carbon. What it's called? The lead is good. It's a good lead. when you've used it, it's got the little seed in the end. So they come in engraved. You have a choice of, it's about 10 different kinds of seeds at the moment that you can have in there. So when you finished it and you've sharpened it all away and you've just got down to the little stubby bit at the end, you turn it upside down, plant it and water it, and something will grow. There's been
Brilliant.
herbs and flowers and trees, Christmas trees, I think, in them.
But so this is coriander, right? The thing is, I've had this for ages, but because it's not just a pencil, it's special. It's like I've kept it. I haven't used it. And if this brand pops up in my LinkedIn feed, then I think about the pencil and it's just there in my drawer. And we talk about promotional things. And I was like, oh yeah, I've got that pencil from Cactus. So the company's called Cactus. Right. And so I'm not, and this is where the difference is, isn't it? Because it's tangible. Yeah. You retain it. Yeah. And it's not just a pencil. It's not just a pen. So yeah,
they are really good. They're great. I love them. That was it was seed pencils. Do you know about Theo Fetus's SBS?
Yes.
It was a seed pencil tweet that got my retweet from Theo.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. They were a great product.
Awesome. Right, we've had Paul Green of BuzzCom fame and Green Umbrella Live Lunch Stalker fame. He has, right, he's popped a comment in on Facebook. So when BuzzCom rebranded, so Paul has, there's a few businesses within BuzzCom and they're basically monitoring sort of carbon footprint and offsetting it and that sort of stuff. And it's something that Paul encourages through the business, sort of through the community rather. So he said, try to be as green as possible. And Paul, he's put it over 3 comments. So the next comment is, he said he's not sure where mugs fit into that though. So yeah, give us some thoughts on mugs.
Mugs, they're reusable. So you straight away, they're not just something that you're going to have for a week and then not need anymore. They last. They are made in various different places, not generally in the UK, if I'm honest, except the really expensive brand ones like Emma Bridgewater. Really lovely mugs are made in the UK.
We don't talk about Emma Bridgewater. We've got Susan Rose China branded mugs that were designed
made in Britain.
Made in Britain, made in Stoke-on-Trent.
Exactly.
Hand. What's
Painted.
the word?
Painted or
these are transfers rather than hand painted. But she does loads of honestly, her personalised stuff, loads of hand painted stuff. If we'd wanted them is it gilded? Where they put the gold edge on it?
You can do. Yeah, they hand do that. It's amazing.
Yeah, but they're again these, because they're British bone china, English bone china rather than just Chinese bone china. Yeah, it's the quality is better, and so they are 25 quid a mug, but they're amazing and we love them.
Yeah, and it's beautiful.
And we've had them for years too, so they've lasted. Haven't they?
And in China, people think it's going to be much more chippable, less sturdy than an earthenware mug, but they're so much stronger, much less likely to get chipped. I'm a bone china girl myself. Who's a bone china? My coffee in it.
So yeah, sorry I interrupted you.
No, so I think mugs are not too much of a problem, and they grind back down, don't they, into dust afterwards. So I don't think they're not something certainly that I'm aware of as being a huge issue. I think it's really they tick the reusable box, and that's one of the biggest things.
What are the things that kind of when people ask you for them, you're like, oh no, please don't have that, because it's the opposite of sustainable and opposite of green and.
Be careful what I say. I don't know who's watching. I'm not a huge fan of stress products. We sell a lot of stress products. Some people use them and they work absolutely brilliantly. They tie it in completely with their brand and they work really well. People keep them, people market with them, and they're really good. Bog standard, a stress ball very often will end up in the kids' toy box. It's kind of giving the company who's bought it no exposure. Kind of just sitting there, kind of not doing anything. they're not made in the UK. They're bulky to transport. So they're probably one of my least favourite. But I think done right, they're brilliant. And I completely get why some people do them. I think that's a definite sort of proviso on my comment on them not being my favourite.
We've got a couple in the office, haven't we? We throw them at each other occasionally.
That's it. Yeah,
That's all they do, though.
We used to do that a lot before lockdown, and then yeah.
So I have got one client who uses them absolutely spectacularly, and I've got so much respect for how they're making them work that's where I'm like, oh, it's like, generally I'm not the biggest fan, but yeah, I think they can be really good.
I think that's if you're going to do something like that, it has, like, if it's just a ball, there's nothing. It's like I said, if it's just a pencil or just a pen, if it's just a ball. But actually, if you do something like these are not branded; they're just something silly that I picked up on holiday, and I think everyone's got something weird. But it's like it's something different, so people hold on to it.
Yeah,
and I think that's the key, really, isn't it? How, like, why would someone want to keep it?
Yeah,
it's like people love
everybody.
Yeah. Like, I don't get coasters, but people love coasters.
I love coasters.
They really do.
But I don't go for a coaster.
I mean,
like,
not
don't branded, but I have some on my desk.
No, but this. So I get having a coaster. I've got one. I get having a coaster.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm like, I haven't even got one on my desk. It's like if you're going to do a coaster, make it quirky, make it different, do something with it rather than it just be a coaster. I think this is the thing. It's like with some of it, and I guess Mark, like, let's make you talk now. Sometimes it comes down to sometimes it comes down to the design of the item as well, though, right?
Yeah, I suppose so. And again, I suppose it's thinking about if there's a message to get out there on it as well and things like that, or making it, I don't know, I suppose things like, I'm just looking at the one I've got now is from one of our suppliers, but it is just branding. There's nothing else on there, but maybe you could think about adding other things onto coasters these days, especially if it's full color print, maybe having like QR codes and things on there so that you're actually getting people to interact with it. Maybe they'll, if you've got a site that they go to from that, they can just might make them scan it every now and again, that sort of thing. Make it a bit more interactive as well.
I just had an idea.
Oh no.
we could have a coast, right? So I don't know how we do it. I don't care. I'm going to talk about it now. If someone steals the idea, whatever. Right. If you had a coaster with a QR code on it, but basically that QR code, every time you go to it, it's almost like, imagine a landing page where every day there's a different content prompt.
Love it.
Content prompt.
Yeah.
That'd be brilliant.
I like that idea.
That's so useful. Like, hitting that.
Because you've got to scan it to get that anyway.
Yeah. So anytime you're stuck, scan it.
You'd have to keep it. So you'd have to keep looking at it.
Yeah.
Like it.
I've got to think, how can we do the back end of it?
Timed content.
So we can do that. Is that easy to do?
Not done it, but I think we could do it. Pretty sure we can do it.
That's our job. Oh, Kim, can you write that down, please? I really like that idea.
It's a really good one.
Yeah. There you go. You see, this is why we do live lunch. This is if Jody popped into the office and we were having a coffee and we were sitting around and having this conversation, which we would do, I'd get that same idea. So it's like, this is we talk rubbish and good ideas come. Basically, that's the way we work. Brilliant.
It's brainstorming.
I'm well excited about that idea now. Totally distracted from this because I'm thinking, like, now my brain's gone in, like, how do we make that work?
We've had a massive resurgence recently as well. That we've put them on a few things that I wouldn't have thought of before. And
do you know, the pandemic and like restaurants opening up, the whole, like, being able to sit at your table, QR, that has been the best thing for QR codes.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about it. I wondered why they were suddenly everywhere again. And yeah,
I mean,
probably when I first knew Mark all those years ago when QR codes back in like 2010 or 2011 or something.
I used to have a QR code on the back of the van, and I think it probably got scanned about 3 times in the entirety of the van's life. And then now, I mean, I always used to be a skeptic, but now we use them ourselves, and we've got some stuff being used definitely for clients, whether it be more simple things about, just directing to websites, or we've got one on an event thing where the actual QR code will generate a tweet for the event and stuff as well. So things like that, you can be a bit more creative as well in that. So yeah, it's quite useful.
It's things like presenting, the number of people now, they don't even wait for the end of the presentation. It's like, slide 1 or, so I've seen them on the title slides of a presentation, and it's like, here's the QR code so you can get the slide. Because I know people are, especially if you're at like an expo or something like that, people leave a couple of minutes before the end because they want to get a seat in the next session. And so they're not there for that bit where you're probably giving them ways to contact you.
Yeah.
And then it's like all through their slides, stuff like that. But this is the thing with QR codes. The thing that always makes me laugh is when, let's say you're on Instagram and someone's posted a QR code. So you're on your phone, scrolling through, and there's a QR code saying, scan me.
How'd you do that?
So you've got to think, right, so I'm sorry, Mark, but QR code on the back of your van, I'm driving behind you. You now want me to scan your QR code?
When he's parked in the car park.
Yeah, but then you're parked up against someone else, or like, do you know what I mean? It just it doesn't make sense, does it?
But it was also back in the day when you actually needed a specific QR code reader and things like that. So smartphones didn't scan automatically, which they all do now anyway. So I think it's a development of technology that's...
Have you seen these?
Is that the NFC jobby?
Yeah. So it's tiny. You can hardly sticks out at all. And if you hold your phone, this part of your phone over this,
can't see.
This part of your phone over this.
Oh yeah.
That pops up, opens up like a QR thing. Press this, opens up exactly like it does when you scan a QR code, and you click on it, and it takes you to a web page, and it's got all of my information, and you can do just add contacts and stuff from there. Pretty cool. I love it.
Do you have to be registered on it, or it just works anyway?
No, it just works. So you register I registered my details. The first time you scan it, you register your details, put in all your your contact details, your website, I can't think what things, your social media, all your social media handles. You're like, I've got somebody.
Brilliant that none of us guessed that's what you were going for there.
And I said earlier, good luck if you can find my brain cell. Yeah, that was an example. And once it's set up, now anybody who scans mine, that's what they'll get. But I've got some of them. So if I gave you one, yes, it would have my logo on it, but you'd put your details into it, and it's really cool. So if you want some, I'll send you one. Well, some.
Awesome. I want pop socket. I need a pop socket.
Probably send you one of those too.
Yeah, I'll have one of them. Cool. Okay, so have we got any other questions for Jody?
I think we've probably covered some of it.
Yeah.
I mean, mine were sort of general things, like if there was anything specific to sectors that are still popular, because obviously, we work with a lot of recruiters, and we see stuff at recruitment exhibitions, etc. So we see, obviously, notepads, pens, and things, which obviously still get used. But is there anything or any particular sectors that you see specific items being used for, or is it quite general still?
I think it's quite general. There's a lot of crossover. Possibly we work with a really wide range of sectors. So maybe I'm not seeing a particular, all recruiters have moved a little bit towards this in general, because we've only got 2 or 3 recruiter clients, and, it's a few in each thing. Christina mentioned earlier about water bottles, and then there was this big move towards the last few years. These ones, it's perhaps more been not sector specific, but sort of product shifts.
Yeah.
From normal mugs went to the takeaway mugs, reusable takeaway mugs. That's massive, but that's probably stagnated a little bit, and then more on these bottles that keep things hot or cold, because they're covering both. Then probably more product shifts rather than that I've noticed, rather than specific industries. But like I say, we cover such a wide range of industries that I'm not sure I'd totally see it if it was a shift across an industry.
Still that usable thing though.
Yeah, usable. And I noticed that Nicole's put in the comments about people requesting using recycled materials, and that's something that's really become a bigger thing, and cost has become less important for people. So, and I think the range and the quality of recycled and eco products has massively improved. Back in 2008 to 2000, whenever, 10, 12, the recycled products were so expensive, but also the quality was really poor in comparison. It's like sticky notes and notebooks and stuff. The paper was almost scratchy. It's like it felt like it was a bit lumpy. And now it's got so much better. And a lot of the recycled plastic, you wouldn't know, or you would know, but you'd know in a good way. And it's not 50% extra, which helps. So we do, in answer to that, we do try and encourage.
So I have a final question for you. Unless Jay, have you got anything else?
No, we kind of answered both of mine in the one that I asked.
Cool. So I've got one question for us to finish up on. So you know us for a long, long time. I think since before Green Umbrella was a thing, you knew us. If there was no budget considerations whatsoever, like what is the quirkiest, weirdest, wildest, non-egg related promotional product that you would love for us to have?
Oh my goodness.
If I said you could we'll just set you loose, what would you come back to us with?
I don't know. That's such a I'm thinking something that appears to be quite normal. So like an umbrella, because obviously umbrella being in your name, but then that's got either colour change panels. There's some really funky umbrellas that they're all over printed, and full colour. So it's it's almost like you've taken a piece of material, printed it all over, and then made it into an umbrella just from the top. But it's still an umbrella, which isn't the most wildly exciting. I'm sure I must be able to come up with something better than that. Some of the umbrellas are just incredible at the moment.
I want one. Can we have some colour changed umbrellas, please?
Ones where they've got dark inside, so it looks like it's night and clean. It's really,
oh wow,
love an umbrella.
Could you have it printed so that when it's wet, the giraffe appears?
That's what I'm thinking. I think you can. I think that's when I was saying colour changing. I think that's it. That when it's wet, that's when
that would be cool.
That.
Yeah. I'd use that.
Me too.
Umbrellas are the best. And they last for years.
Chris has just posted about having Green Umbrella guitars. Probably not practical, but we should get some guitar picks. They'd be quite useful for me, at least, anyway.
Yeah.
A bit like the Spotify, the ones with the Spotify thingy on them. But
code,
again,
yeah, you could have things like that. Yeah, I was just thinking, if they were the right picks, I'll take them to gigs.
Love it.
Always on the job, you see.
Yeah, always thinking, yeah. Although Nicole's just said she wants some pants.
Well, do you know, funnily enough, I can be done.
Nicole will never ask for things because they will get done.
That's it, just for you, Nicole, just for you. Awesome. Jody, thank you so much for joining us today. I know it was sort of unexpected when we reached out to you. Hopefully, I think Kim said to you, it wouldn't be painful. We don't really know what we're doing most of the time anyway, so you'll be fine. So hopefully it has been that experience for you. But thank you so much for joining us. There's loads of stuff that you've shared that I hadn't, stuff around the green element of promotional products. Definitely, I know you've written articles for us, but there's so much to know there. I think it's definitely something people should reach out to you to find out more about, especially if they have got events and things coming up. So where do you want them to contact you? Where's best?
Probably best to send me send me an email, which is jody@chillipromotions.co.uk. That's probably the best way. But obviously, social media. I love social media.
Awesome, fantastic, cool. So yeah, thank you again, and I'm just going to ask you now just to wave at your screen, because
We have to
it's
do a
time for
screen
us
grab.
time to draw it to a close. We need to do our screen grab, pretend like we enjoyed it, and just and thank you to everyone that's tuned in as well. Round of applause for Jody, and
I was applauding the people that are tuned in. Sorry, wasn't clapping for me.
It's fine, why not?
Yeah. We'll be back next Thursday, 12 noon. Goodness knows what will be happening next week, but we'll be here on my LinkedIn, Facebook page, and live on YouTube. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.